At age 16, I traveled to Vienna for the first time. I never anticipated the meaningful impact that the city would have upon me. Its beauty, its grandeur, its history. It was nearly impossible to put a camera down. Two eternally famous composers, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Ludwig van Beethoven, spent a great deal of their lives within the Austrian capital. Seeing their individual place within the now modernized city where they lived, worked, and were laid to rest was awe-inspiring and thought-provoking. Many people group Mozart and Beethoven together as interchangeable classical composers, but through this journey, my eyes were opened to their distinctions and how through time they shaped the city of Vienna. This video will examine their uniqueness and their values towards music, molded by Vienna's continually changing social climate. Through this exploration, we hope to shed some light on the impact that Mozart and Beethoven had on the traditions of Western classical music.
Mozart was born in 1756 in Salzburg, Austria. He was a child prodigy who toured with his father all over Europe from 6 to 15. Characteristics of Mozart are very typical of the classical era. These can be seen in some of his famous works and operas like Don Giovanni, Marriage of Figaro, and Requiem in D. Beethoven was born in 1770 in Bonn, Germany, and was afflicted with gradual deafness, being totally deaf by 1820. His musical characteristics are slightly different from Mozart's and can be heard in his Moonlight Piano Sonata or his famous symphonies like Ode to Joy.
So, what's in a picture? Let's take a closer look at famous portraits of these two composers and discover what they can tell us about each of them. Here is Mozart. Mozart's clothes, hair, and posture all show the markings of an aristocrat, although Mozart himself lived above his means and dressed luxuriously only to fit in with the company of the aristocracy. His powdered wig shows this influence, and his appearance is orderly and upright, similar to the music that he composes. His powdered wig, although somewhat hidden, shows the popular favoritism towards symmetrical appearances. The lighting of this portrait shows a glow emanating from the background. Besides making use of chiaroscuro lighting in this portrait, this glow seems to embody the genius thought shining through the composer. Mozart's expression is a bit mischievous, precocious, and playful. The slight grin on his face expresses this, and his music frequently takes on a playful character as well. Here is Beethoven, who clearly looks quite different than Mozart in his portrait. Beethoven wore the clothes of the common people. His heavy coat in particular lends off a serious demeanor. Beethoven politically believed in the brotherhood of all men and supported revolution, and thus he dressed like a common man. Beethoven's hair is quite a subject of debate. He famously refused to wear a powdered wig, rather letting his hair grow free and wild. Although many of his patrons were aristocratic Viennese, Beethoven stubbornly kept his unkempt hair, a symbol of his defiance, progressiveness, and liberal nature. Beethoven's posture and expression show that he is slightly hunched, brooding over his work. His expression looks upward with sternness, as if deciphering his work with solemnity from a divine force. The setting in which Beethoven composes in this portrait is quite interesting. Beethoven's career marked the bridge between the classical and romantic eras, the latter favoring nature. Beethoven's inspired composing in the woods idealizes nature as a source of knowledge and inspiration, a core value to the Romantic era. In closing, we want you to see that although we are musical geniuses, and although we both lived and worked in Vienna, we are very different, and we held different values towards music. Mozart inspired me in my early career, but then I went on my own path to establish the Romantic tradition. He's right. I'm pretty fantastically classic, but then again, he is too in his own right. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss.